It's raining. Whew. It's so wet out. Nellie, this way. Come on, get in the truck, girl. Oh, we're blurry. You can't see us. Whew. Man. Oh, my hair. We are gonna run down to the barn and do another calf check before bedtime because we had a calf born a few days ago. The mom has been keeping it out in the weeds, and with all this rain, we want to make sure that it's okay. Nellie and I are braving the the cold weather, checking on this calf. And I am hoping that the mom brought it in the barn so that we don't have to run out on the pasture, searching through the weeds, trying to find it in the rain. Okay, we made it to the barn. Sorry that the video quality is so bad. I don't know how to make this camera clear. Is that better? I think that's better. Hi, girls. There it is. There he is, over there in the corner. Good boy, staying in here in the rain. So we just want to make sure he's alert, and then we're gonna find his mom, and we're just gonna make sure that her udder looks sucked down. We know that he's eating. Good to go. Well, we made it back, huh, Nels? And I realized that our gas gauge was on E. I have Danny's phone, and my phone is broken, so I would have been walking home in the rain. Okay, ready? Let me get right inside. Well, it's 10:30 and we are getting a flash flood. So we are headed back out to check on the calves because their pen is flooding and we don't want them to drown. We are going to figure out what to do with them for the night. My vote is to bring them in the house, but Danny is not buying that. And it's so dark out here, I don't think you can see, but we basically have a river in our yard. Some spots the water is over my boots and up to my knees. All right, I'm gonna put my phone away so I can help Danny in case we need to move the cows. We are back inside. So the verdict is we're gonna leave the calves. They are dry currently. There is a pond around them. Then we're gonna set our alarms for maybe an hour or two and then go out and check on them again and make sure that they're still dry. If anything exciting happens, we will try to video. Well, the rain still hasn't stopped and our yard is a mess. So I'm going to make their bottles and head out right now to check on them. I forgot we are out of calf grain, so I have to run out to the truck and get a bag. I'm surprised that our driveway isn't still a river this morning because last night it was up to my knees in some spots, which is just crazy. Whew. I'm glad it went down. I'm not going for a ride now. We got our grain put in a bag. I see both Sable and Scotch standing at the fence now, so it looks like they're okay. Okay, here we go. We've got our bottles and our grain, and now we're gonna brave the rain. It's nice to get some nice warm milk in their bellies, and now they're just munching on their grain, and I think I'm gonna put their hay in their hutch so they can stay out of the weather today if they want to. Happy that they made it through the night without getting too soaked. I feel like their hay is gonna be just soaked all the way through now. And cows don't like to eat wet hay. False alarm. Some of it is dry in the middle still, so I'm gonna put it in our hutch and hopefully they'll still eat it. It's kind of frustrating to get so much rain when there are farmers out west dealing with unbelievable wildfires and are in such a drought. They have livestock they can't feed and crops that they can't irrigate, and I wish we could just send it all over to them. They need it a lot more than we do. We have a little creek that's overflowing, but it's not a very big creek, so that's not saying much.
This is a trickle compared to what was going on last night. Last night we got about 6 inches of rain. There's a creek right there. That's what you just saw. That's overflowing still. Basically the creek was blowing out. There was like raging waters like a foot deep coming past that tree, past their house, down the driveway, and over around the septic system right here into the drainage pipe, exiting that way. So basically we just had so much water in such a small amount of time. Everything was backed up and everything just came right down here. It was crazy. So we're gonna go check out some crops and see what they look like, see what kind of damage we've got. I'm sure we have some ponding. We might even have some washouts down where we have some lake slopes, but oh, we're pretty low. Helps when you clean your dash off. Oh, so there's the speedometer. clean. Well, the county ditch is flooded. This is the ditch that our little ditch flows into. Is this road washed out? Just kidding, it's not, because you can see the little ripples in the water. Holy smokes. This must have been just full of water this night. I mean, it's full now, but if you saw what we had last night, you'd be like, holy cow. It had to have been a foot deep. Look how backed up the water is in that ditch. It's full. Well, it's not a huge puddle compared to what it could be. So we've got a little bit, well, quite a bit of nitrogen stress on the bottom of the plants here. What happened is the plant ran out of nitrogen, so it's sucking nitrogen out of its own sources, pulling it from the leaves and the stalk, and trying to put it into the ear. It's called firing when the leaves start turning yellow down below. And what will happen is the plant will slowly abort the tip kernels, and if it's really bad, it'll keep going and going and going. Saturation of the soil is what has caused this to happen. I put 180 units of nitrogen on here, which I probably should have put like 200 for the growing season we've had. I put 180 units of N on. We'll probably get 180 bushel the way it's looking. However, when you have saturated soil conditions, that causes the nitrogen to get released out of the soil as a gas. It's called denitrification. I'm gonna open up a couple ears and see. This one's filled right out to the tip, so this is not a concern. The only thing it might affect is the test weight, but that's a nice fat ear. It's not very long, but it's fat. It's $80 a bag corn, so I'll take it. So in order to calculate yield, I need to count how many rows there are on the ear and then how many kernels are in each row. Then what you do is you multiply the girth by the length and then divide it by a factor of like 90 or 85 depending on the size of the kernels. These kernels are looking like they're going to be pretty big, but you got to break it open and look at how deep the kernels are. They're not as deep as they have been in the past. They might be able to swell some more with this rain that we had. So even though it's this late, these ears are like milk stage. I'm kind of debating on coming back in here and drop tubing some more nitrogen because of how wet it is. See if we can pick up test weight and really make some heavy kernels. I'm not really sure what to do. So this ear was 18 kernels around and 32 long. So I'm going to multiply 18 times 32 times the population, which I dropped 36,000 and I probably ended up with 34. So I'm going to do times 34 divided by 90. That will give us a low average potential yield. These kernels are bigger than the 90 factor kernels. So I might do 85. That would be more accurate. But I'm also going to grab some other ears because 18 around is probably an anomaly. The average is more like 16 or 14. You got to check a couple more ears and then do some math. Kind of thinking it might be worth drop tubing this. We also have quite a few of these second ears that are not filled out, but they're not completely aborted yet. I don't know. I just feel like if we came in and drop tube 10 gallons, it would pay. But it's going to cost probably $50 an acre. So I just don't know at this point. What I'm thinking is we've had saturation twice now. This is the second time. The first time was in early July, right around tassel. I probably should have come back in then and put 10 gallons down, or 15 even. I'm regretting not doing that. I don't think it would be too late to do it now yet. We have over a month to go before this stuff's mature. I don't know. On the one hand, I want to do it. On the other hand, I'm like, I'm done spending money on this crop. I kind of just have to like settle for 180, which is hard when you see the corn looking this good. We've put enough money and time and effort into this crop. We've run enough of it over. The ears look great, so we're just gonna settle, I guess. That was 34 long, 16 around. 34 long, 16 around. Kernels are pretty medium size. I mean, I've seen it where the cob is huge and then the kernels are only like that deep. So I'm going to use a factor of 85. 16 by 34 by 32 population. This could be about 204 with a factor of 85. With a factor of 90, which would be small kernels, it would be 182, I think, is what I came up with. Long story short, it could go about 182 on the low side. I'm happy with that. And next time, if it saturates us in July, right around tassel, I'm gonna have them drop. We're gonna drop to 10 gallons right off the bat. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. road's closed here. Road flooded. Wow, the water was up into that hayfield in this ditch last night. Well, I imagine that gully is washed out. When you're a low-cost producer, it's easy to drive around and look at the neighbor's crops and be like, wow, they look so much better than mine. We do things so much cheaper. However, the way I see it is, if you're making the same amount of money with 30 less bushels per acre, you've got to figure in the handling of those bushels. You've got to figure out where to store them. You've got to figure out hauling, drying, everything. So it's not just about 30 bushels. It's also, what do you do with all those bushels? Oh, son of a gun, that road's flooded too. You're not supposed to drive over flooded roads, so probably not going to do that. So I guess I'm going to go home and let these waters subside. Is that the right word? Reside? No. Subside? No. I'm going to let the water go down because I just had to turn around like 3 times because of flooded roads and I can't get to the fields. That's all for our scouting trip for today. Hopefully it stops raining. Oh look, more water.